Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. Good afternoon YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Now the next job I'm doing on the Himalayan is I'm going to be installing this switched relay system. It's an Innovv Power Hub 2. Once we unravel this thing, it looks a little bit like spaghetti. It can be a little bit intimidating. Anyway, it's quite straightforward actually, but it's going to take a little bit of time with the electrics. Now, as you can see, I've already taken the seat off. I've taken the tank off. You've got in and you've got out, essentially. So this yellow wire here needs to be hooked up to an ignition feed or something that turns on with the ignition. And that basically turns the box on, essentially. This one here, you've got your live wire obviously, which goes straight to the battery, and then of course you've got your ground or your negative. Now there's different ground points on the bike. I'm going to put little eyelets on this and I'm going to hook it up to the battery here. Then on this side you've got the option to put 5 accessories on here, and these are all fused. Before we go any further guys, I've decided that this little hub is going to be housed up inside this little hidden compartment here. Yeah, just to try and keep it a little bit tidy, because it's a mess at the moment, but this will be tidied up. Now, you can see these little tabs on here, this just pops off, this little cover. And I know that some people use it for keeping, I don't know, documents or whatever in. But I've never really used it, so this is going to be ideal for this. Before I start to route all these wires, guys, I'm just labelling them all. Now that'll actually sit quite comfortably in there, but I'll put a little bit of double-sided 3M tape to hold that in there. But what we've now got is 2 distinct sides to this. We've got the power going in, from the battery, and the trigger wire, and we've got all these coming out. Now, as you can see, I've tidied this up quite significantly. Now these are inline fuses, so this is line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then at this end I've labelled all of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So number 1 is going to be my heated grips. Number 2 is going to be my USB for the tank bag. Number 3 is my little GPS system, which I'm hooking up at the moment. To kill any of these lines, all you need to do is take the fuses out. Now there's little 3-amp fuses in here. So lines 4 and 5, I've taken the fuses out of them, but I've also crimped the ends of these, just to protect them in the meantime. That doesn't mean I'm not going to use them. What I'm going to be doing is hooking up my little voltmeter, my 12 volt, it's a voltmeter cum cigarette lighter for my air compressor for the tyres, and the other one is going to be my little auxiliary lights that I'll be hooking up at a future date. The live wire from the battery has got a fuse in there, and we've got our neutral in there as well. Now I could cut these shorter, but I don't want to. I'm keeping it just in case I move it off the bike at some point, maybe use it on something else. I'm going to be feeding these underneath this wiring harness here. You see I've made a little bit of a harness here. I'm feeding these under here. This here is actually the black neutral wire. I put a little eyelet on there for the output. Now you only get one, so you want to line that up and run it against the bike, ground it against the bike. And again, with any accessories, you're going to run, this is my GPS mount again, you're going to run your live into whatever your live that you have here, whichever one you're using. And then the ground, again I put a little eyelet on here. You don't need to, you can put one eyelet onto all of these. I'm just, overkill a little bit I guess. All of the grounds for all of the accessories are going to go to a grounding point on the bike. I don't want wires running everywhere. I need them to be out the way and I need them to be safe, but I also need the fuses to be very easily accessible. I was going to run this one under here for example, but that's not, would make the fuse difficult to access. So of course little cable wraps just holding it all in place, and it's set in such a way that I can still easily access my main fuse box. I know it looks quite nice but the weather's been absolutely horrific, and I want to get out and show you how this works out in the real world, as it were. So I'll also talk about a little problem that we had with it as well. It's cold and windy folks. Let's first just have a look at the setup under the seat here to see where we're at. It's probably easier to see now that we've got some daylight. So guys, in the end I hooked a little trigger wire up to the rear tail light here. Initially I was thinking I would wire it up underneath the tail carrier here, you know, up to this little light here, but I decided I wanted it somewhere it's really quite obvious and it's really quite accessible. So with regards to the install, I recommend you keep it away from the fuse block here. There's no really any need to be cutting into that wiring harness there. Underneath the ECU we've got the spare wire just sort of wrapped up in there. This is a little USB I'm going to show you. The switch for this, that's a really bad design flaw in this. The switch for this is in behind here, yeah. So ideally what I want to do is switch this on and leave it on, yeah. But if I hook that straight up to the battery, then it's going to cause a parasitic draw. The same with a lot of my auxiliaries, yeah. But if we turn this on, and then we just wait for 10 seconds, and we look at the little hub here, yeah, we don't see anything happening for 10 seconds. Then the little light comes on, yeah. That now means that if we look here, you can see that this is now powered on. So are my heated grips. Then in reverse, if you've left anything on accidentally, then the little hub here turns it off after 10 seconds. But of course the idea is we want to get the engine running. Yeah, we want to get that alternator recharging the battery before, you see this is now, yeah, before there's any power goes to any of the auxiliaries. That's the whole point of this, yeah, because if your battery's already low, then if all of these things, if you've left them on accidentally, whether it might be, you know, LED lights and USBs or whatever else you've got hooked up to the bike, that could be the difference between the bike starting or not starting. After 10 seconds this will turn itself off again. There we go. As you saw when I was installing this, I've got these little butt connectors underneath here and they're heat shrink. So once you've got them in place, you want to heat shrink them. And I've still got 2 spare, and what I've done is I've left the fuses out of those. All of my negative feeds, yeah, all of my ground feeds are up under here under the bike, all onto one point. Keeps it simple for me. So when I first installed this, guys, I was like, right, happy days, everything's set up, it's good to go. But then I turned the ignition on and my rear tail light was flashing, yeah. And then when I was using my indicators, different indicators were going off and different things were happening. So I thought I'd caused myself a real problem in the electrics here. But it turns out, and I'm going to try and replicate this, this little plug here wasn't connected properly. I've got the rear light, it's on as it should be, but then once you put the indicators on, if we come back here, yeah, that's not supposed to happen. And the same again, flip it to this side and you'll see that, yeah, the rear brake light won't work. So if you ever come across that problem of that light flashing, your brake light's not working, it's simply because this is halfway out. I'm not leaving it like that obviously for very long because I don't want to blow a fuse or anything. So is that connected? Yeah, so that's all good. Yeah, so now we should be back to normal. Yeah, there we go, back to normal. And again, the brake light should now be working. You see that's now lighting up. Perfect. I ended up stripping that thing almost completely back out the bike, trying to find out where the problem was. It was a huge sigh of relief because there's probably no better way to destroy a perfectly reliable bike than to give it some electrical gremlins. And the whole point of this system is to avoid electrical gremlins in the first place. It's quite expensive for what it is. Now, I bought this when it was in sale. I think I got it for £39. Ordinarily, it's almost twice as much as that. Your Denali systems will be twice that again. You can let me know in the comments below, you know, what if anything you've done. Have you just hooked up your auxiliaries to the battery? Have you put a little fuse box in there? I've seen that type of thing. A different type of switch relay system, or have you just decided to just not go there? Yeah.